Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and to Speaking Saturdays. Today I have a brand new set of speaking questions, so let's get started. Here is part 1. How has your family influenced you? I think just like with any other person on the planet, my family has influenced me quite a lot. The earliest memory that I have, I think, is of being given a lot of books. I was always given pretty much any book that I wanted because I was a huge reader. I still am. But I think that love for reading was fostered by my family. And other things, any kind of interests that I had, they were always very open to it. And I was always encouraged to take risks and, just try new things. Once when I was, I think, 17, so it was in May, and traditionally in May, we have this academic break. And so we were just walking, and my mom was like, why don't you go into that institute and ask them if they want a teacher for English? And I was like, I'll do it later. And, I kind of tried to escape, having to do that. But she was like, why don't you try? I mean, you have some free time and it'll be a nice experience. Worst thing they can say is no, right? And so I went in after a lot of nagging, and it turns out they actually did have a vacancy. And then, they called me the next day and I got the job. So that kind of, kickstarted my career in a way. Yeah. In what way is your family important to you? If I don't know, I mean, this is obviously, I mean, everyone's gonna say their family is important to them, right? So, in what way? Well, in every way, right? Because what do you do? I mean, sure, friends are great to have, but the relationship you have with a friend versus the relation with any kind of family member, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your parent, whether it's, a sibling or a grandparent, these are really different bonds, and each of those I feel are pretty important. I mean, like, I can say for sure that it's, of course, you don't like being nagged at and pushed, but that is important. And so, like I said, earlier, when I was 17, I was kind of pushed to just try to apply for a teaching position. And I was kind of like not wanting to do it at the time, but because I was pushed and pushed, it really had a positive impact on my life. So, I think if I, like, didn't have the family that I do, things would be pretty difficult. I mean, I cannot imagine a future without family. So, yeah, it's a pretty important, possibly the most important thing, right? Because as much as I enjoy my work, as much as I enjoy my hobbies, what else is really there on the planet that could be more important than your family? Sounds a bit traditional, yes, but that is what it is. How many people are there in your immediate family? So, the funny thing is, my mom came from a large family. My dad came from a large family as well. Of course, like, 50 years ago, it was normal to have like 5 kids and 6 kids. But my family, there's just me and my mom, but also our 2 rabbits. Of course, pets nowadays, you do consider them family members. But they're quite old. I think they're 7 or 8 years old, which is quite old for a rabbit. And of course, my mother is relatively young, actually. And we have a pretty, very close bond, I'd say. Of course, everyone's gonna say that about their family, but I think we are particularly close. Also helps that we have a lot of the same ideas, a lot of the same values, a lot of the same opinions as well. Of course, I mean, there are generational differences, as always, but I think overall, like, compared to the kind of relationship I see other people have with their parents, ours is definitely closer and more kind of, strongly bound together. What do you do together with your family? So, well, that depends. Sometimes we work alongside each other. I work online. She also has some hobbies. So sometimes we kind of, work side by side, or sometimes we cook. Usually, when I can hear that she's cooking, I'll just run into the kitchen and kind of like, spy on everything. And then I end up helping her. And other things like, of course, we enjoy going out. We're gonna go next week. We're gonna go to this planetarium. In fact, even our dental appointments are with the same dentist at the same time. So we do a lot of things. Really enjoy being outdoors. There's this huge park near, just like 3 or 4 kilometers, close to where I live. And so we went there. We had a great time. She loves, making videos and stuff. And yeah, I mean, every time we go out, we might even watch a movie occasionally. We used to do that a lot more before COVID, but then I don't know what happened. Obviously, 2, 3 years of isolation, and now we just prefer watching something on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Discovery or something. But we have a lot of the same interests, so it, pans out well. Great. Now we'll look at task, or rather part two. Okay, describe a success of your friend that has made you feel proud of them. You should say, who was this friend? What kind of success did they have? How did your friend celebrate this success? And explain why you were proud of your friend's success. So, I think the first thing that comes to mind is I'm doing this course. Well, actually, I'm doing a bunch of courses. I love learning languages, and so the local university, they're offering these, online lessons. And so I'm like, wow, this is perfect for me. So I started doing that, I think, about exactly 3 years ago, actually. I started in September 2020, and here we are today. So it's been a long time, and I've met a lot of people, my classmates. Some of them even became friends. And one of these, she's actually been with me ever since the beginning, so like A1, and then now we're in our B2 course. So, in the beginning, she actually struggled a lot with writing. And oddly enough, like, funnily enough, writing is one of my strong suits. I can write like a 500, 600 word whole thing. And, I find it relatively easy. I also just, I do feel like languages kind of, come a bit easy to me, possibly, maybe. I don't want to brag or anything, but it is what it is. So a lot of people, a lot of my classmates, obviously they know that okay, this woman is always, responding, and our results are also published. Everybody knows that I'm always at the top of the class. So a lot of people come to me for help. So this friend of mine, she, like I said, she was struggling with writing, and so I offered to, correct her writing for her, to kind of give her tips and stuff, and tell her how do you arrange your content, stuff like that. And so then, like I said, it was a big deal for her because we do have a whole writing section in our exams. And then I saw her go from, barely passing because of the, writing section, to getting a really high, like she got a B grade in, her writing section last exam. But previously she was, like I said, barely passing. So that was really great. But, I think that really kind of also made me proud because she works full time, and it's a very demanding job. I think she works in some kind of chemical plant. She's an engineer, and there's a lot of that stuff that I don't really understand. But I think she has a very grueling schedule, and despite all of that, she was able to do so well. And like I personally, since like I said, I've been with her from the beginning. So A1, A2, B1. Our results for B1 just came out a few months ago, and both of us were so happy, because especially I could see, okay, she's, gone from here to there. It's the same feeling that I have with my own students, actually. And I think that also kind of underlines the fact that I feel like teaching is quite difficult. It's a skill not everyone has. A lot of teachers just become teachers because they didn't really have anything else they could do, especially in my country. A lot of women just become teachers because they think it's an easy job, but a real teacher, I think, really changes your life, and there's very, very few of them on the planet. So anyway, I feel like my ability to take something and really simplify it, is, something that I could share with a lot more people. So it really kind of, I mean, of course, we're equals. She's not a student of mine, but I still kind of, helped her along, and so I have the same feeling of pride that I do when a student of mine comes to me and tells me, "Hey, I got a great, result in my exam." And of course, I mean, we were able to, I think there were like 17 people that took the exam, and out of a class of 17, she placed like number 6, which is great. I mean, that's pretty high. So I mean, we live in different cities, so we couldn't really like meet or anything, but we do get together online and we chat about it, but no celebration as such, because like we're both adults, and the whole celebrating thing, I don't know. It's just a tiny exam. It's not some major thing. So yeah. Now we'll go on with part 3. Okay, great. So let me read the first one out. Okay. Do you still keep in touch with your friends from childhood? Why or why not? So when I think of my childhood, that was like 20 plus years ago. I've moved a lot. I've changed schools a lot as well, more than, the average. Even though like it's in the same city, but I've changed a lot of residences, moved a lot of schools. So, I would love to have maintained contact, because sometimes I get all nostalgic and think, wow, so when I was 8 years old, I had this friend, and, we were pretty close. And then I moved, and of course, I changed schools as well. So we lost contact. And back then, like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, like even phone calls cost money back then. Of course, now they don't. They're practically free, at least in my country. And of course, you have the internet and stuff like that nowadays, so it's much much easier to make new friends and also stay in contact. But back then, options were limited, and traveling every day to meet your friend just wasn't really feasible. So not really. I will say though that this kind of depends on the kind of person you are. Some people really, really place a premium on friendships and having a big circle. I don't. I do like having friends, of course. I value that, but I have a very, very small circle, and I'm not a fan of like having a packed social calendar. So, not really. There is not a single person from my childhood that has made it all the way to my adulthood. Whether you think that's sad or whether you think that's just odd, it is what it is. I do wish that we could have stayed in touch, but yeah, that's how things turned out. What do you think of communicating via social media? See, I personally love the internet. I've been chronically online ever since I was 12 years old when we first got the internet. And I still remember I made like an online friend at that time from the Netherlands. And I was so curious, like, what is, because I was a 12-year-old. This is in the mid, not even the mid, yes, mid 2000s, right? And internet was a new thing. And I mean, nowadays people know a lot about the entire world, right? Because, of course, you have the internet on your phones and everything. Back then, it wasn't like that. So it was really kind of a unique experience for me as well as anybody in my generation. And then, of course, I would go on, and the internet would become such a huge part of my life. When I was a teenager, I was the first person to, like, one of the first people to sign up on any social media platform, whether it's Twitter. Back then, I remember 2008 9, Twitter was this brand new thing. Nowadays it's all very different, but back in my day, now wow, I sound like an old person. But back in my day, all these new websites, I would get so excited. Now I'm like, "Ugh, what is Snapchat, what is Kick? I don't understand these things." So I'm like a pretty much a boomer now. But I do think it's great that we have all these options. You can build and maintain friendships even if you don't see each other. In fact, some of the best advice, help, support I've received has been through people on the internet. So I think it's great. Although of course there are, it's kind of sad that we don't really see people as often. A lot of people, not everyone of course, but the duration, the frequency of actual real life meetings, that has definitely kind of reduced over time, which I think is sad. What's the difference between, looks like there's a typo here on the screen. What's the difference between having younger friends and older friends? Well, having had Oh, I don't think I've actually had younger friends. Maybe like a year or two max. But you know, the way things are, like when you go to school, of course, your classmates are all the same age, college as well. So, the only times when I have had significantly older or younger friends has always been like when I've made contact through the internet. The thing is, with younger friends, you do feel like there's a bit of a responsibility, like helping them out, giving them advice. And older friends kind of do that for you, right? You get to benefit from their experiences in life, right? So that is pretty cool. I really value and appreciate the insight that I get from older people because whatever situation you're finding yourself in right now, chances are high that they've been through it and they can tell you exactly what to do or what not to do. So that's pretty cool. I really, appreciate and enjoy that. With younger friends, there's also, at least when you consider, our world nowadays with digital media, internet, and all these things, it really helps in terms of, kind of being updated. Yeah. Where, for example, we have all these, new words that come up like slay and, all these little phrases and stuff. So, because like my people of my age, they may use these terms and memes, create memes and stuff like that, but a lot of the internet culture especially nowadays, is kind of driven and dominated by Gen Z. So millennials like myself are kind of being pushed out a bit, and we kind of have to learn from Gen Z. So I think that's cool. You learn a bit from everyone and you can teach others as well. It's good to have a diverse friend circle. Do you think online communication through social media will replace face to face communication? I don't even think it will. It already has. Like I said, for a lot of people, why step out of your house, deal with traffic, blah, 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 when you can just get on Skype? You don't even have to download Skype, actually. You can just go to Facebook or you can just use FaceTime. It's so easy. You can just get on a video call. You can see your friend at any time. People even find partners on the internet. So that is, it already has, of course, not entirely. I mean, you can't, for example, let's say you can't, like, oh, actually you can watch movies together, but like through the internet, you can like sync what movie you're watching, all these tools. But anyway, that doesn't really beat, like going together somewhere, experiencing something together, for example, going on a trip, right? Those kinds of things. I don't think the internet can ever replace that fully. Of course, nowadays we have virtual reality headsets and all these things, and you can, get together like that. Of course, it's a very, very new technology. It's still being developed, but I think all of this is going to, of course, play a bigger role, but at the same time, people will value real face to face, interaction a lot more. I think they will appreciate and cherish it a lot more than they do right now. Because, it's like take AI, for example. Now, a lot of people are worried that, oh, artificial intelligence can make pictures, they can make art and music and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's gonna, lose their jobs. But I don't think so. Like when you consider the fact that when you look at a picture, or let's say any kind of work of art, for example, poetry, you read a poem and you're thinking, okay, was this made by a human or was this made by AI? The thing is that people are now starting to really get upset with AI, like, oh God, another chat GPT response or something like that. Like when you read, someone copy pasting something from chat GPT. So we are really going to start craving, appreciating, and valuing human contact. There is just something very precious. I feel like, just communicating through a screen, for example, it's good, it's nice, but it lacks soul, right? And that kind of thing, the vibes, the energy, all of that, you can only get that through an in person meeting. So that's it for today, folks. I'll see you in the next video. If this video helped you, please don't forget to click on like. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. It really, supports the channel. I really appreciate it. And it keeps me motivated to keep putting out videos like these. If you have any comments at all, anything at all, please leave it down in the comment box and I'll be sure to incorporate it in the next video. Until then, bye bye, and don't forget to share the videos in case you know someone who's also preparing for the IELTS. Bye bye.